Yeah, okay, so we wanted to get kind of an outsider's perspective on this, and I just want to see exactly how we... So what would your view be of Baker Mayfield from your outsider perspective? Is he like a franchise QB that we think he is, or, I mean, what do you think?
I think there's a couple things. When John Dorsey was the one that interviewed him at the time, correct? When he was the general manager?
Yeah.
Okay. So when he interviewed, he talked about, there was a couple guys even, and you guys probably all know this. It's like, yeah, we do this for a living. But when it comes down to it, he was talking about how there was guys that had better overall ratings when it came to, if you took something like a Madden number from guys like Josh Allen. But when he talked to Baker Mayfield, he had that it factor. And I think you see that. He had a couple bad games. He started off hot when he came in for half the season as a rookie. And then all of a sudden he starts to fade back. He comes back with a really good season last year where, Cleveland had a number of opportunities. I'm with y'all. I'm not a Cleveland Brown fan, but still you got screwed helmet to helmet. Something's got to change in that role in the playoffs. I mean, it's atrocious that a team can get that far and has been waiting for so long and for something like that to happen, because you can review everything. And, sometimes these refs will trot their ass over there for, 30 minutes and look under this thing like they're ordering Chinese, but they can't. You can't review something that's so obvious.
Yes.
I thought, they've got to change that rule. But to get back to Baker, I think he's gonna be somebody that is always going to try hard. He's embracing the city, commercials. The more relevant you are in that jersey, the more it plays a part in saying, I want to be with that city. I mean, there's a contract in basketball, Markieff Morris, I think, it probably wasn't a huge contract or pizza budget, but he couldn't leave the city because he had a commercial. So he couldn't get traded. He was like in New Orleans, he was wanting to leave. And they're like, no, you gotta fly back here and do our pizza commercials. And he's like, well, I'm not going to get traded then. So Mayfield's I think he's going to be here for a while. And I like Mayfield. I just think he's in a time right now of a ton of good young quarterbacks that are coming up. If you look at Justin Herbert, if you look at Joe Burrow, who is going to be around, and I know that it's not something you guys want to hear about unless it's another injury, but when it comes down to guys that we see, even like Josh Allen, who grew up before our eyes, Patrick Mahomes is obviously a talent. I sometimes get in the way when people are like, oh, you saw what he did in the Super Bowl. I was like, okay, guy's been really as a starter 3 years, and he's made 3 AFC title games and been to 2 Super Bowls. Like, I'm sorry, where are we setting the bar now? I mean, like, what else do you want from this guy? But there's just so many good young quarterbacks. So Baker Mayfield, to answer your question, I would say I do think highly of him. I think he's a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type guy. He'll have a great game, and then he'll have that game against the New York Jets where you're watching – and I'm looking and saying, why the hell would I start him on my fantasy football team? So those kind of things there's good days and bad days when it comes to Baker, but I think there's going to be more good ahead.
Well, that's funny you say that, because I remember that Jets game. I had Baker in my fantasy lineup, and the night before it said all the wide receivers on the roster are out for tomorrow's game. I'm like, well, he's out of my lineup, because who's he going to throw the ball to?
That doesn't help, yeah.
No, it doesn't help at all.
I will say, of all the good young quarterbacks that have come into the league the last couple of years, I don't know if any quarterback has faced more of an uphill climb than Baker. Maybe I'm biased, but to take over a 1-31 team in what is arguably one of the toughest divisions in football, and basically a franchise that's just been turmoil for 20 plus years, to all of a sudden have them as playoff contenders and even Super Bowl contenders. I mean, he might not be a top 3-5 quarterback, but I think he's a guy that's worth hitching the wagon to.
But he can. I mean, sometimes people don't. You look at a guy and there's no way. Like Taysom Hill down here, a lot of Saints fans in this area, but Taysom Hill, he can only do so much as a everyday quarterback. He doesn't. I mean, he threw 55% when he was at BYU. Baker Mayfield showed that, he went from an Uber driver at Texas Tech in intramural football to going to a national title. Or a college football playoff, to going and winning the Heisman Trophy and then being the number 1 pick. People like that have success rates like that, you sort of want to get out of their way. Because he's obviously proven that he's done it against other people telling him throughout his career that he couldn't. And look, the progress, like you said, 1 win from the Hugh Jackson era, and who was only good to come down here for the Senior Bowl and visit us. When it comes down to everything with Baker, I think there is a lot of good, but that division is so brutal. Especially with Burrow healthy and Big Ben, if he we'll see which Big Ben shows up, and who knows at this point. Just keep him out of the bars down here in Georgia. So,
Shots fired.